Hello friends, my name is Ashok Sejala. In this session, we learn the required field validator control, how to apply single control and group control, and also cover the pose validation property of the button control. So let us start. Okay, first I share my laptop screen, and here Microsoft Visual Studio for Express web edition is open, validation website folder is already open. In file menu, I take new file and web form file is there and C# language is here selected. Here just give the name like first REQ demo, just require field validator demo, and press the add button. First fix the our title, and that is require field valid LIDOTR, that is the valid and control. Okay. So validation require field validator control, and in division tag we take one panel. Panel is a container control. So ID just we have to P1 connect server side, and grouping tags, that is employee detail, or you can say that information, and provide also back color, that is pink, and here also take the table, and that is ID T1 connect server side and provide the border, and that one. Okay, close the table tag, and that is TR taking the first row. Table tag is a HTML control. So here we can provide the runhead, that the control also work as a server side. By default, HTML control is work on client side. Okay, we take one TD, and that TD I take one label. So here ID LLE EID means employee ID. Runhead server side, and tax is just we have to provide the ID. Okay, close the table tag and take one another TD, and that TD first take one text box, and that is ID TXT ID. TXT is a prefix for text box, so you can identify the code side very easily. Okay, now we provide first our require field. Requirements, you cannot supply the blank value, and here I can use the in text box, and drop down is a group control. So there are many group control in ASP.NET. Here cover the drop down list box. So first we apply the text box, and that ID like REQ ID connect server side, and tags we have to provide. Just ID is, you can say that require. Okay, and now just above, and here also I move forward. Okay, here error message also provide, and that is we have to listing EMP ID is required, so we can identify text and error message, how it's print which place. Okay, control to validate, that is important property. Which field you will apply, that ID here supply, that is your ID on the text box, that is txt eid. So that text box that requires that field is compulsory. So here, okay, so that is require field validator, and here also display, that is main. By default there is three possible value, and by default is a static. Here I provide the dynamic value of the display our message that highlights. Okay, now there is sufficient for require field validator, and that ID. Okay, there is we have to check only require or not. Okay, now we take here, just copy and take another row, and that is the name field. Okay, and here the name label of the tags, and text box ID I can change here, just txt nm, and give in the here control to validate txt_nm. So also employee name is required, and error message I can change, and also the text message change, and that's the name is required. Okay, that display is a we can provide here, just remove. So by default this message is a static and our id is a dynamic. Okay, now take the last row, our last field. Okay, and that is the employee department. Here we can say that department. Okay, that labels and text box here not required, so I just remove. Okay, and here we take the drop down list box, that is the group control. So that my goal in this session, how the require field validator work on single, that is text box, and group control, that is the drop down. You can also take in your example like radio button list, checkbox list. So here, and list box bullet list also is there. So here a drop down list box I can take as a group control. So that id l run at server side, and also you can provide the static and dynamic. You can see my series of video in previous session like video lecture, so you can identify. Here I just give the static, and that is the list item is there, the child tag, and here we provide just text and value, not id. So here I can take the department, but first we have to have one simple select, that is not our list, and that is we use in the require field validator, and also value is select. So we can that is not a require on list, just initial value. So here we provide that value in the require field validator. So let us check how it's applied. And now our original value is start purchase department. Also values we can provide like same purchase, and here we provide like sell. Okay, and here also SEL, also you have to write the spelling sell. And now we can say that operation. Okay, here we can provide operation. Okay, so there are three value. Okay, now how it's apply the group control as require field validator. ID there is not required to change run it. Here we can say that department is required, and also change the error message employee uh, department is required, and how it's applied control to validate, that is important, how distinct, and that is same we have to just here, that is our drop down list box id. But in group control we can set one important, that is initial value, and that's name we have to provide our not the list of original item, and that is select. So whenever is select is appear in the drop down, so that message gives the employee department is required, or just department is required. So here that is one important distinct property to group control, specifically designed for the group control, and that's name is initially value is you have to some duplicate, or you're not in including your list. So that is a sample. Just here I give the select, so you have to appear only first value is a select, that means you cannot select your original value, and that time this require field validator, that is the important of this session, you to learn. Single control there is not required that type of initial value, but that's extra property in require field, that is design initial value, and we have to supply some sample value, that is not include our in list, you can say that, that is not department name, just select. So that is the important point, so you can understand very well what is I am saying. ID is same, runit, text, error message is there, control to validate, we have to provide our drop down list box, that's ID. Okay. So that is one important distinct property is there, and that is the initial value, and that is I can provide the select. So select is a not our original list item in drop down box. Okay, so that is our first goal. I can understand how the single control, require field apply, and group control how to apply. Now, our this session second goal, and we can take the third row, fourth row, original three field, and just here take the button. So here I take one button ASP and button cause validation false. So what is the use of that property of button control? And that property hold all button, image button, and link button. So let us start. It is submit, run at server side. X is also submit, and here we have to provide some formatting. So you can also learn this session how format individual control. So we provide the uh, font bold, and that is just true false. That provide the true, and font size also I can provide, and that is we can say that large. So many properties there, but we have to take first as a large, and then four color. So that is dark, flat, and that we have to blue. Okay, and just close this button, and just I can copy for second button, and that's name is cancel. So here that all are the same, but here we provide like bt cancel, and here submit the name as text is a cancel, and all rest of no change is required. And after the table tag, I take one label to print our data employee field of through ID, name, and department. So LPL answer is there, connect server side is there, and X is also like output, and just close tag, and also here one BR tag, and last as validation summary. So just ID VL connect server side. So our message displayed at the end of the list. Okay, so our designing is ready, and here one important property I can apply, and that is here apply in the cancel button, and that's name is cause validation. Cause means reason of that validation. We apply the by default it's cause validation is a true, so here I just the false. So what is the meaning of cause validation? And that property hold I can previously say that all three button, image button, and link button. So here we can use button just, and post validation means when any website developer or tester use their main logic, what is the error and what is the hurdles of running the main code application logic in ours, we can say that. So that time after applying the validation, we just bypass that validation, and that is the use of cause means reason of that validation we have to just ignore, and our original code we have to check that time its property use. And that is very important when you can apply logic and apply all validation, but your main logic some error is there. So how it's checked, because hurdles is we can apply our validation control. So how it's bypass that time, you can bypass your all validation control, and just you can pose validation as a false by default, that is true. So there is one important property of all three buttons hold in ASP.NET. So let us check first our design and apply the coding. So I think yes, ready. Just we have to take that button as some here. Okay, so and also that button and that handler as a margin. so just in the middle position, and also that button. Okay, so that is our fixed size. Okay, okay, so we can just click on the submit button, and our code behind file is now here open, and we provide one if condition, and that is the page dot is valid. So all the field is written true, then and then page valid is valid is true, because field all the is valid property. So here our goal is, if all field is proper in valid form, then that is printed in the label text. So here apply the label text first id, and just the text box text eid dot text, and thus next br tag provide the name of employee, that is heading name, and txt nm is that text box id, and next br tag, and that is the department. Okay, and just we have to take drop down. uh, you can say there are two choice here. First, directly you can also apply the text property. Okay, so first we check the text. Okay, and also you can select add item dot to string. So okay, you can also check that property. So here we can use if else what else part. So here else is there. Response is a member of page class. See here, and that is return HTTP response. So HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol, and that is a stateless protocol, means one request and one response. So response dot write is a method, and just give your message in valid form. Okay, okay, so here just save, and we can take another button, and that's cancel, and just we have to take the blank, and text equal to blank, and just name is blank. So our drop down we have to not, but clear method is there, but we have to not take this method because our list is gone, our drop down list box. So cause validation we have to check for use of cancel button. Okay, so our coding is ready now, and let us check at runtime. Just save Ctrl S and run F5 as a our web page in ASP.NET. So here I just press first submit button. So ID is required, name is required, and department is required. That is applied by the required field text property message. And here we have to provide prefix EMP ID is required, EMP name is required, and EMP department is required. That message provided by the error message. And I can, if you I can check my main logic, and just I press the cancel. So all the cause of validation, that is reason of validation, that is bypass. So all message is gone. So that is, you can check your main logic also. Okay, now I just press second time to submit button, and now provide some proper value, and one, that is ID of employee, name is a Ram, and here I can also select that is not our list, just initial value I have to provide. So that time group control you can also provide the required field validator, that is main important listing property, and I just press submit button. So our list is now displayed. Okay, ID, name, and department. So that is a very important for you how to apply the group control, and also you can apply course validation property to submit button also. So just I can stop the debug. Okay, and here also we can check two main point, and first we can also apply our submit button. Course validation is by default its value is true, I can just here false. And second, we have to our coding part, and that is the here we drop down list box print the just text property, but we can also use the second way, and that is selected selected item or value. There are two I can show you. Okay, here item and value, so we can select the item and just two string, so that is the same. You can print your department or drop down list value. So just I can save and run F5. So let us check. So here I can just submit. That time not here is valid, cannot call validation take place. So that is the reason I can take error and how understand the cause values is bypass. So here if our if condition is not applied, because we have to just cause validation is false. So some you can understand concept, you can take some error, that time you can understand very well. So here you can say the whole message read page dot is valid cannot be called before validation has taken place. It is been queries in the event handler for a control that and cause validation is true and initial the post back or after the call to the page dot value. So here we cannot apply the page dot is valid, so that button we have to not use, because our uh, post validation we have to apply the false. So I just show you how it works. So I can remove this, by default it is true. So then and then we can print our field. So whenever you can bypass your, that time you have to not just comment provide and check your original. That is simple three field information, but in real life your commercial website you can check like 20 or 30 fields is there, and their logic is applied and your validation is applied, and after that you have to check your main logic is work, some change you have to apply, and that is hurdles of the validation. And that time you have to your in button there is main property cause validation. So I just summarize my topic in this session. I can cover the main two topic, and first target is require field validator, how to work the single or group control, and here apply the text box. So there is a we can property set ID run a text error message control to validate and displays a dynamic. Okay, we can also check at runtime. And then next name is same, we have to provide ID run it text error message and control to validate. So require field means you cannot supply the blank value, and real life you in competition exam form fill up, that time red asterisk sign is there, that's meaning this field is compulsory. So that is used by require field validator. And here also we have to check the group control, how you can apply the require field validator. So here in drop down list box, ID run a text, same error message in single control, control to validate, that is the ID of drop down, and that is the initial value, that is select. And select is not a member of our original list, just we have to give the duplicate value our list. So that is not member of our original department name. So in this example, and second point in this session we have to cover the cause validation, that is the important property of when tester and developer check their original logic and bypass the validation. You can cause validation, the reason of that invalid value which just bypass and check original logic. So that time we provide the cause validation by default is true. We just provide an false and check our main logic. Okay, and also take validation summary, and in our code behind file we have to just in submit button page dot is valid, so all the field return true, then and then label text print our all the three fields, otherwise it is invalid form. And last we have to cancel button, and that just blank and cause validation. So I can run just last time for you, and here some provide here title of the page require field validator, that is the panel, and just we have to submit that all message id name and department. Here we have to not select. If we select the proper value and uh, proper value, and here you can see the I can just blank one, and here name is required, so you provide the all field as a compulsory. So then and then submit is work, and you can apply the course validation, that is you can just false. So that time not work, here just clear because we have to already print. So okay, that is I think sufficient. uh, Subscribe my channel Ashok Sijala Academy. Press the bell icon to never miss any update. My upcoming video lecture. You can also uh, subscribe. Then you can also notification for that. And many positive response. Many subscriber is there in my channel. So thanks for your watching and supporting. And Hare Krishna.